I just don't know how to get past what has happened. I can't get the images out of my head of who he has been with and the things that he has done. Does this sound like you? If you are struggling with feeling attracted to your husband after he has cheated on you, then that is what we are going to talk about in this video. And as we get started, please consider subscribing to this channel. Go ahead and click the bell so that you'll be notified of when new content comes out, and like and share this video if there's someone who can gain understanding from it after you listen to it. If you're listening to this as a podcast, then be sure that you follow it on wherever you're listening to podcasts so that you will be notified when new episodes release. All right, so as we're talking about how to become more attracted or re-attracted to your husband after he's had an affair, we first need to understand what attraction is. At Marriage Helper, we talk about attraction in terms of the pies. We call it the pies of attraction, and it stands for the 4 different areas of attraction. It stands for physical for the P, intellectual for the I, emotional for the E, and spiritual for the S. And in a long-term relationship, like your marriage, the emotional part of attraction is the most important part of attraction. And emotional attraction is all about evoking positive emotions in your spouse and your spouse evoking positive emotions within you. Now, when your husband had an affair, he was not evoking any positive emotions within you. It probably evoked a lot of negative emotions, as is completely understandable. And when emotional attraction is lost or damaged, it affects all of the other areas of attraction as well. When I don't like the way my husband is making me feel, then it will affect how I physically view him. I could think that he is the most attractive, physically attractive person in the world when he's treating me well. But if he begins to treat me like a complete jerk, then I'm actually going to view him as less physically attractive, as well as less spiritually attractive and intellectually attractive. All of these tie in together. And so when emotional attraction is lost or when it's damaged, it affects everything. We can justify a lot of other bad qualities about a person when we have been emotionally hurt by them and no longer find them emotionally attractive. And we can even amplify these negative qualities when we feel like they have been a jerk or a bad person. Again, this all comes from having a lack of emotional attraction. When emotional attraction is low, when we actually have an emotional rejection or an emotional repulsion of our spouse, then we begin to write even more negative stories. In research, it's called having a negative sentiment override. We begin to see everything that they do as negative, and it's difficult to re-find that positive. So what do? Because when people evoke good emotions that we like, we are more likely to write positive stories about them and believe good things about them. I was talking with one of my friends just the other day, and she was sharing about how when her and her husband first got married, and for the first several years of marriage actually, that everything was so amazing. That he was always attentive and attuned to her needs, helping out with the kids, all of the things. And the difference that happened is she found out that he had been having an affair. And even though they have been reconciling from that, what she shared with me over lunch that day was ever since that, all I can think about is what he's done. All I can think about is how he, basically, she didn't say it this way, but how he evoked all of these negative emotions within me. How all of my fears about being abandoned or not being good enough or not being loved, all of those have come to light. And because of this, I don't even want to be around him anymore, because in some ways it is a reminder of me not being good enough. But also, whenever I see him do anything now, I can only see what he's doing wrong. I can only see the negatives, even though our friends and our family members would still say that he's the most amazing guy in the world. This is happening because she is telling herself these negative stories about her husband. She's believing these things because she's been hurt, and so she's stuck in this negative sentiment override. Has this happened to you? Are you telling yourself a bunch of negative stories about your husband? And how is that affecting the way that your relationship is now? Be sure to tell us in the comments if you wish what that experience has been like for you. So, what can you do? Well, the first thing is you ask yourself, do you want to save the marriage? I hope that you do. Because even in this sticky situation where it feels like there's no hope, we believe that there is. So the next question is, does your husband? And the first thing we have to ask here is, are they still involved in the affair? Because even if you aren't currently feeling attracted to them and they are currently in the affair, that's still okay. You can still have a deeper desire and a deeper commitment to your marriage, even if right now you don't really like your husband and what he's doing because he's continuing in an affair. My encouragement is, don't let the lack of current attraction affect your long-term decision without thinking it through. Think in terms of 10-10-10. How would a decision to end your marriage right now affect your life in 10 days, in 10 months, and in 10 years? In 10 days, you might feel better because you are away, so to say, of this current pain that you're in. You would have made a decision, you would have made a stance that you aren't going to accept this and you're going to move on and you're done, that he can't treat you that way. And in 10 days, you may feel good about that. But in 10 months, you're going to start experiencing what divorce really is like. And in 10 years, more than likely, you would regret that you didn't work it out. I've had so many women who have been divorced and are even in a second marriage and even happily married in a second marriage say to me, Kimberly, I wish I would have made my first marriage work. And if you feel like you do not know how to do that, we can help. If the affair is over and you're trying to reconcile, then that's a different way that you handle this. You first work by building the attraction again. Both of you, your husband needs to rebuild emotional attraction towards you and rebuild your trust. But it takes working through that. You can't just sweep the affair under the rug and try and move on like nothing ever happened. You actually have to deal with this stuff. And we can help you do that at Marriage Helper. The best next step for you in that situation, if your husband is willing, is to attend one of our couples workshops. We have people attend for all sorts of reasons, but I will tell you that the couples that come because an affair has happened, but the affair is over, will tell you that this was the best thing that they could have done together to reconcile their marriage and make it stronger than ever before. So stick around and watch the next video that Dr. Joe Beam will share with you on how to forgive a cheating spouse.